And thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. The Style here. I'm being joined by Joe B from Ringside Reporter. We have MC from In the Ring, Gail from nyfights.com, and of course, Marlena here. Shout out to you, Boxing Dev. Okay, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Shoe Shine Boxing. What's going on, 408? Subscribe to the Shoe Shine Boxing here on YouTube. Look, Hot Boxing Minute joining us here today. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me. Hi, everyone.
Absolutely. All right. And, of course, you're joining us, making your debut on the roundtable. Thanks to everybody. Now, before we all have a seat at the Thanksgiving table, we're having a seat at the roundtable the day before. That's why it's a Wednesday edition. All right, because tomorrow I'm going to be stuffing my face with turkey, and I didn't want to do the show tomorrow. So that's why we're here on Wednesday. Okay. With that said, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Now, since Gail's haircutter matches the show, I'm going to start with her first. You know what I mean? So there we go. Ioka versus Franco, December 31st. We'll be closing out the year with that banger. 115 does it again. This division has done nothing. Whenever people complain about the sport of boxing, at least the men's boxing, they're definitely not talking about 115 pounds. But with that said, can Franco pull this one off, Gail? New Year's Eve over there in Tokyo.
It's a tall order for the small man, but he can. He's capable. Will he? Completely different question. Can he do it? Yes, I think he can do it. He has to fight a perfect fight to do it. If he makes a mistake, if he loses focus, if he's not properly prepared, you're to the pinpoint of height of his ability. Yeah. Ioka has a lot more wiggle room. But it's a great matchup. They'll push each other. You're going to see I don't know what the betting odds are if they're out yet. It's probably a little early. But you're going to definitely see Ioka being favored. You want to take a little flyer on Franco? That wouldn't be the worst money you spend as long as you don't spend the mortgage. I hope to see him put up a good enough effort that it gets him some more fights and gets him some notice. And really, for Franco, a lot of this fight is about the big stage and the performance on the big stage that he's been looking for. By far, the biggest of his career so far. And as an aside to what you said, these guys and the smaller weight divisions, and in particular, I think of 115 as kind of the glamour division of the small divisions, they fight each other. They fight the best. Yes, some of them have losses. Do the fans care? No, they don't. No, they don't. Similar to the UFC model, which boxing really needs to think long and hard about. Their big stars have losses, and the fans do not give a. They don't. They have their favorites. They want to see their performances win or lose, and boxing could really take a page from that. And the smaller weight divisions do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Abraham Alejandro Guzman Cardenas. Thanks so much for those 65 Mexican dollars. You know what I mean? I appreciate it. Right. Shout out to you, brother. Hey, let's go to the guy from the Hot Boxing Minute. First of all, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well. Feeling the caffeinated drink kicking in. I love talking about the mini kings, the sub 126, 118 bantamweights, flyweights. Kazuto Ioka is one of the unofficial kings of that flyweight division. I mean, he's been going at it for years with the best names in that division. The odds are negative 165 for Ioka, Franco plus 135. That's 60-40, which is roughly about where I think it should be. Josh Franco's up against the wall against Kazuto Ioka. That man is a veteran who has been in there with the toughest dudes. Felix Alvarado, Juan Reveco, Arroyo McWilliams. I mean, he just avenged that loss against Donny Nietes, who's one of the Filipino boxing legends of the flyweight division. And it's an interesting style matchup. I think Josh Franco definitely throws his combinations faster. He might have slightly better footwork, but I wouldn't consider either of them to be Bam Rodriguez, Josh's younger brother. They're not exactly the most mobile of fighters. Kazuto Ioka definitely is heavier handed than Josh is. So like Gail was saying, Josh can win. He has to fight the perfect fight, but I'm gonna go with Kazuya Ioka on this one. I think he might win by decision, and it's going to be a tough fight for Josh Franco. But he is, capable of pulling it off. But I just don't see it against somebody like Kazuya Ioka.
Do you think the odds are about accurate? You give him about a 40% shot or something like that?
Yeah, I think that's just about right. It's about 60-40. Definitely, I wouldn't put it as 50-50 simply for the fact that Kazuya Ioka's resume is just so stacked. He's been in there. He's been in hot water. And as much as I like Josh Franco and his brother, Joshua's toughest test up until this point was his trilogy of fights with Maloney. And Maloney, he's a tough outing, no doubt, but Kazuya Ioka's been in there with some of the world's best. So he's not going to flinch. He's got antifreeze in his blood, and he's ready for this task. And it's going to be on Josh Franco. Can he keep up that pace for all 12 rounds and not allow Kazuya Ioka to really put his weight down into his punches? That's going to be the tricky part for him because Josh Franco's hands are faster, but man, that pop in Kazuya Ioka's punches, the snap is, it's extra snappy.
Yeah, it's extra crispy for sure. And we got Mirna. MC, how are you doing? And what do you make of this fight on the 31st? We're going to end the year with it. And do you give Franco a shot to win this fight? But what percentage shot do you give him?
Hi, thank you so much for having me again. I'm doing great, ready for the holidays, or at least the beginning of the holidays, right? So I think Gail did such a great job explaining again the concept of just because you lose a fight doesn't mean that we see you a fighter. These smaller weight divisions take a lot of those risks and they're willing to do that. So I think not a lot of people watch the small weight classes. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to even find video fights on these fighters. So I think now with other bigger fighters that are starting to become more maybe pound per pound at a faster rate, I think it's slowly bringing that back to the smaller weight classes, and now we're starting to see more visibility on those weight classes. I think the odds have it pretty accurate. I would say I maybe will put it at 70-30 even, just because of where the fight is. I think that's going to play also a major key. He's gonna be fighting in Japan on New Year's. That is their tradition. So I don't think that they want to see their fighter lose, right? So I would have to say I have a 30-70. But I do think that Franco, just because he's a warrior, he's gonna put up a great performance. It's gonna be a great fight, and I'm excited to end the year with an amazing fight. What does New Year even fall on this year? Is it a weekend?
Sunday, I believe.
But at least we'll have some boxing to watch. Good.
Yeah, for
Perfect.
sure.
I love that.
All right, Beeb. So it's going to end the year for us. What type of a shot do you give Franco in this fight?
Give him a great shot. I think both fighters, they fight at a fast pace. They're very offensive minded, and this fight could be like in a phone booth. But as it was said earlier, I do think Franco may be a tad quicker and does bring a little bit more volume. I think Ioka is definitely a bit stronger and probably a bit of a harder hitter, but Franco's nothing to sneeze at either. The thing I like about Franco too is when he is on the inside, he really makes himself a compact target. He defends well on the inside. Ioka sometimes stands a little bit too straight up on the inside, and I've seen him get tagged a few times, but I think this is going to come down to who can outwork the other guy, because I think both guys are going to meet each other in the center of the ring. I think it's going to be an up-close battle. I think a lot of punches are going to be thrown. And, I think that Franco's probably going to realize that he has to start fast, and he's got to go out, he's got to go above and beyond to get the rounds because he is in Japan. So I think Franco's live. I'm going to actually pick Franco in this in this fight. I think Franco has been the underdog before. He knows how to rise to the occasion, and I think his volume will probably win him the rounds. I think he'll outwork Ioka.
Okay, all right, interesting. Boxing Dev, what do you think of this fight? And do you agree with B? Do you think Franco's going to pull it off?
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for having me again. It's a long time since I've been here, so I'm grateful to be here. And this is boxing. Everything could happen here. But I think if Franco wants to win, he will have to take the advantage in the first 4 rounds, because Kazuto is a fighter. I will use Spanglish, sorry, but Kazuto is a fighter de menos a más, you know, él va de abajo hacia arriba. So I think if he can take the advantage in the first 4 or 5 rounds and try to butter and make this year the Japanese fighter, he will make can take the win, you know. But you know, is this is a difficult shot for Franco. Él está en la cueva del león, you know. Uh, he will go to Japan to fight against the local one, the favorite one, you know. So this is going to be difficult for him, but it's not impossible. So if he can take the advantages that Choka gives to his opponents, he can take this fight.
All right. And shout out to Nando Yama. It says, hey, yo, saludos to the panel in the chat. Hey, shout out to you. Also, writing Yogi, he's a few cervezas for D-Style. Also, great to see Hot Boxing Minutes. Saludos, my friends. Love the panel. Well, shout out to you. I appreciate the support. 408, talk to us, brother. Talk to us.
What an exciting development to have this fight on New Year's Eve, because, hey, 2022 has had so many disappointing weekends. So this is going to be a great way to end the month of December in 2022. But ultimately, man, I have doubts that Joshua Franco is going to rise to the occasion. The limited soft opposition, the Andrew Maloney types, are just not what the veteran in Ioka is going to bring to the table. So I think he's going to cave under the big pressure. Unfortunately, I know I'm going to make a lot of enemies by saying that, but I think he's going to ultimately cave to the pressure, and Ioka is going to walk away with a decision and a banger for the end of 2022. Very good fight.
Here we go. I'll just make this very short and sweet. I give Franco, my calculations say 10% chance to win. I'll give him a 10% chance, and that's if the judges are feeling generous too. All right. I think Ioka's going to win this fight, but I do know this. I think it's going to be a great fight, because I think Franco knows he's got to kind of do a little extra every round to win these rounds, and it's going to make for a great fight. And I think it might just steal fight of the year at the very end, right? Just you never know. So I'm looking forward to that one. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic here. We'll start with a boxing hot minute here. Look, Ryan and Tank. Last week they were making it sound like it was a done deal. Even ESPN was reporting it, right? But now, but actually, Tank has a fight in January. Okay, and then Ryan Garcia, he's got a fight, and then Tank's throwing shots at Mayweather. I mean, all this drama here. So it's just a continuation of the discussion, but. A real simple question. Just speak on it. What are your thoughts so far on everything that's happened with these two guys in the last week?
Oh, I'm going to play the ultimate pessimist. Gail has heard me say this perspective already. I look at Tank's pattern and the way Mayweather Promotions has moved him in the past, and it's always an almost challenger. You know, you're like, oh, Leo Santa Cruz, but he's kind of small, or you know, Rolly Romero, who's really basic, or Mario Barrios, who started off as a bantamweight and doesn't really have a lot of pop. And all of a sudden he schedules 2 back-to-back killers on the eve of a court date against a judge who doesn't really like him. So I don't know if there's some kind of smokescreen determined to be blown. I'm a pessimist as far as either of those fights not even going down. I think people being dismissive of Hector Luis Garcia to begin with is a mistake, because he is a very live dog with a deep amateur pedigree. And he's kind of big. He's like 5'9", and you know, he's not an undersized dude by any means. It's interesting, you know, Tank is doing the tweet and delete thing again. That's not unusual. Whenever he makes a fight announcement, he does that thing where he, you know, shows some dissension in the ranks, throwing shots at Floyd or Leonard. I don't put too much weight into those. It's great conversation fodder, but it's been shown that he does that. You know, he's done it in the past. Every time he has a fight coming up, he'll put out one of those tweets. I don't like Floyd. I don't like Leonard. And words actions are stronger than words. If it was really that much animosity towards the two guys, supposedly who make the big decisions, well, mostly Floyd. Leonard's more just a figurehead, but
Right.
if there was real animosity or tension there, he wouldn't have re-signed with them. He would still be with Mayweather Promotions. So it seems to be that he's quite content making millions, taking fights that aren't as risky as we think. But yeah, it's interesting. Hector Luis Garcia is a live dog. So is Ryan Garcia. I would give Ryan Garcia more of a better shot because he has stopping power, unlike Hector Luis Garcia does. But that's my take on the situation.
Okay. Joe Habib. What are thoughts on all this? Since last week when it was announced, and now we are where we are with everything that's been going on. Speak on it.
Well, you have no date, you have no venue, and what are you going to do? Snap your fingers and there's going to be an available arena in Vegas for you? I mean, it doesn't make sense. You can't. I mean, boxing in Vegas, you have to plan that months ahead because there's a lot of things going on in those arenas. They have a lot of events, whether it be entertainment and other boxing events too. Because around the time they're supposed to be fighting, I guess they're supposed to be fighting in the spring. There's a lot of potential fights scheduled around that time. So where are they going to fit their fight in Vegas? What I believe happened here is I think both guys are using each other's name to promote their upcoming fights. I think this is a sham. This whole thing about Mayweather, from what I'm hearing, I heard he wasn't with them anymore. And if you go on BoxRec and you look at the Hector Luis Garcia fight and you click on the event here, it says that Tom Brown is the promoter and there's no Leonard Ellerby or Mayweather Promotions attached to this event. So nevertheless, he's still going to be with PBC regardless. And to me, that's not a good thing either. So yeah, I just think this is all smoke and mirrors. I don't believe the fight's going to happen. I don't think the fight's going to happen next year. I think it's just a sham. I think it's another social media ploy just to try to get everyone excited, and it's clickbait basically.
But they agreed in principle.
Yeah. Whatever that's worth.
I used to work at a dealership. I used to work at a dealership and a car dealership. And every time, you know how many times a customer and a salesman agreed in principle?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll come tomorrow. I'll sign everything tomorrow. And then they never showed up. Yeah, it happens a lot. But 408, talk to us. Speak on it. What are your thoughts on all this right now?
I'm beyond skeptical. It's entertaining for sure, and I feel like they're tying into the whole YouTube boxer stuff going on and using that as a marketing ploy. But I'm beyond skeptical of them getting, like Beeb was saying, getting a solidified date for April. If it does happen in 2023, maybe it'll happen later in the year. But ultimately, I think there's going to be way too many roadblocks for this fight to happen in April. It's just way too soon. And the big caveat, too, is this Hector Luis Garcia, who played spoiler last year for Chris Colbert. Chris Colbert was supposed to walk away with that easy title. And here he came in as a big spoiler and just shocked the world with that upset win. And not only that, but to defend the title. I think this is a really dangerous test for little Tank. I think he'll need to prepare for that and not look beyond that fighter in January. And that's a very solid opponent for Tank. I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah, it's a better fight than the Raleigh fight, in my opinion. Like, it's crazy. But Gail, whatever it is you want to say about these two, how are you feeling about it? Speak on it.
Better than the Raleigh fight. Talk about faint praise. I mean, it's not saying much. The thing that people are overlooking in all of this is Tank has a court date coming up in February. After a judge, in a very rare show for a judge, by the way, and having background in the legal system, I can tell you judges very rarely turn down a settlement between two parties. The judge in Tank's case turned it down, which clearly says to me he thinks it's way too light because Tank would have avoided any jail time. So even if there is a settlement agreed to before they actually get in front of a jury in February, which is highly possible, he's going to have to serve some time. So who knows what will happen, how long it will be, how it all goes down. If he decides to be stubborn and put it in front of a jury, and some guys do, he could get himself into a long, long layoff. So this fight happening in April 15th is the rumored date. Boy, I got some doubts. And if I am a promoter or a network being asked to invest money in this fight and this promotion, with Tank going to court less than 60 days prior to that date, I am not placing that bet on these guys. No way am I going to do that. So I think we will get this fight. I don't think we'll get it early in the year, and we will sure as hell not get it until Tank resolves his legal issues, which could end up being very serious.
Okay, I mean, it could be like that movie with Wesley Snipes where he comes out of prison and fights them. You know, they could do something like that. No? But don't they allow prisoners to box?
Floyd did fine after he got out with his little stay. Of course, you know, we heard him whining the whole time he was at Clark County Jail. That's a local jail. I mean, give me a break. But, you know, we've all seen a lot of guys who did very serious hard time. Tank isn't going to do anything like that, but this is not going to be a comfortable issue for him. This is not a comfortable stay if he ends up, you know, incarcerated somewhere.
MC, talk to us. Well, how are you feeling right now? You're more optimistic or less optimistic than last week about this fight happening?
I will have to say I'm probably optimistic that the fight's gonna happen. I think that the fight is too big for it not to happen. I also think that Ryan and Tank can probably break 1 million pay-per-views, which is something that hasn't been done in a while. So the fact that that is there, I think everybody wants money. So I tried buying tickets for the Tank fight. They were $1,000 per ticket. That's pretty high, right? And it wasn't even a high, this is not for a unification or like an undisputed fight or a heavyweight fight, which we know those are the ones that people want to go to or pay big money to go to, right? So I think the minimum price to get into the building was like $200. So people want to be at his fights. And I think Ryan also brings that type of audience, and he brings a little bit of a different audience, not just the boxing fans that like him, right? Maybe because he represents Mexico, maybe because he see Oscar de la Hoya in him a little bit, right? So you're gonna get to see where you're gonna have the dad and the son want to go to that fight together. Even their daughter might want to go see Ryan, because guess what? Everybody loves Ryan. So I think the fight is too big for it not to happen. However, I do think that the Hector Garcia fight is a huge risk for Tank Garcia. I'm sorry, for Tank. Garcia is an amazing fighter, like you guys said. He has a great amateur background. He's literally, this is his goal. That's what his whole life is about. These guys are not out there playing around. I think he's also a family man, right? So I think, and he knows that he has this huge opportunity. Look at how successful Isaac Cruz was after his performance against Tank. He didn't win, but guess what? In some people's eyes, he won that night because he stopped the consecutive knockouts that Tank had going on, right? So that's huge. I think Hector's going to go down on his shield if he does go down. Of course, we know Tank has such an amazing power that he's going to, we don't know what's going to happen, right? You can't stay away. And the fact that so many people, you can't look away, and that's why you buy his pay-per-view fights. And that's why you want to be there, because you don't want to miss that possible knockout that he's been giving us many, many times. So, I think it's kind of early to make a prediction. A lot of stuff can happen from here into this fight, right? You guys have covered a lot of that. So I am excited. I'm also excited for Hector Garcia to get the opportunity. And I hope Ryan also has a great fight to go along with his tune-up, as some people like to say, right? We know that Hector's not a tune-up, but some people might consider him that, but they just don't know, right? So I hope Ryan has a hard fight that prepares him for that possible fight against Tank. It's not going to be an easy fight. And I hope that we get it in 2023. I think they can take over the Cinco de Mayo date. I think that Canelo could possibly fight in England, Cinco de Mayo, and not in America. So how about we have Canelo fight during the day in England, and then at night we have Ryan fight versus Tank. The universe is old. So I would love that, and I hope I get that for Christmas, maybe. So.
Wow. That's a good suggestion. I don't know if Canelo's going to be all for that, but he'll be like, hell no, I'll make the English people stay up all night, just to, but that's not
But
here
we
nor
want to
there.
see Tank.
Right.
So,
Well, that's true. That's true. Boxing Dev.
It all depends on how good you've been, whether you get that for Christmas or not. So how good have you been?
That is the $1 million question. Thank you for putting me on the spot. I'm just kidding.
Well, Boxing
Okay.
Dev, have boxing fans been good? Like, do we deserve this fight? Are we going to get this fight?
I
What's gonna
think this fight is going to happen. I think it's going to happen. This is the fight that Ryan Garcia wants since he was calling out Manny Pacquiao, maybe 2 years ago. So I think this fight is going to happen. It's a good fight. It's better than Rolly fight. I think Ryan has not better but different skills than Rolly. But first, they need to pass their exams, in February. Tank has a difficult fight in February. Garcia's too. They have to be successfully to fight each other. We've been seeing that Tank were injured his hand fighting against Pitbull, then against Rolly. So he has to take care. Because I think the only chance to this fight would happen if someone get hurt or has an injury. I think that's the real problem. Or okay, everybody knows that Ryan is not. Él es inestable, Él no es estable. So, but this
Not
is the
stable?
fight. Yeah, yes, he's unstable. But this is the fight that he wants. And everybody knows that he wants money, and this is the way to make money. So definitely it's going to happen. If we talk about the fight, I think Ryan can beat Tank, but he needs to change his mindset. He needs to change this because in every performance that we saw about him, he only was trying to knock his opponent out, and this is not the way to box. For example, with Luke Campbell, he suffered a knockdown, and that kind of mistakes you can make it with someone like Tank. Do you know why Rolly was knocking out? Because he was throwing punches and doing something like this. So Tank has a really good timing. He got it. He got it, and he took his out. So I think if Garcia changed his mindset, if he become a mature person, he can beat Tank. But if he can make that adjustment on himself, he's going to lose.
Yeah. Look, I'm just wondering, like, when do fights become official when they're literally like the opposite of official? And here we are a week later, they're going to be fighting somebody else, and one wonders that they make this announcement to promote their next fights. Like that's always a possibility, right? And then there's a whole thing with the judge, or not the judge, but the court case, So we're going to see how that goes. All right. A shout out to Lisa Bales in the chat. And yes, guys, make sure you hit the like button. All right. G Funky in the chat. He says, shout out to my brother D-Style Boxing and the panel. Thanks so much for the support. Shout out to G Funky Boxing. There was a replacement fight. Sandor Martin, he was scheduled to fight. Teofimop Lopez was scheduled to fight Pedraza. Sandor Martin is stepping in as a replacement. All right. totally off left field. So is this a better matchup for Teofimo? A worse matchup for him? You know, it's kind of last minute that it's being replaced. Boxing Dev, we're going to go back to you. What do you make of this fight? Sandor Martin contra Teofimo.
I like this fight more than the fight against Pedraza. You know, I think Sandor is a third fighter. He's really good. He showed that he has the skills against Mikey Garcia. You know, he's good, and I think Teofimo. This is a really good, a really good challenge for the moment that Teofimo is in. You know, do you remember his fight? I don't remember the name of his last opponent, but I remember what was Teofimo doing. You know, before the fight, he was talking about his family, all of his personal problems, and all of that things. Okay, he won that fight, but everybody were thinking about what this man is doing. You know, so here he has in front of him a really good challenge, a fighter who is not comfortable. You know, he's super. You know, he knows how to move. He knows how to walk the ring. He knows how to cook the ring. Él no se deja acorralar. You know, Mikey Garcia couldn't do it. So I think it's a really good fight for Teofimo. I think he can beat Sandor, but the same with like Garcia. You know, he has to change his mindset. He needs to think that he's not the best fighter ever and ever, because when he was undisputed, he was saying, hey, his dad maybe was saying, my son is going to beat Canelo and stupid things like that. So now he needs to put his tiene que poner los pies sobre la tierra. You know, he needs to be with the foot on the air, you know, on the floor,
like grounded.
Yeah, thank you. He needs to have a clear mindset and think in what he's going to do, because this is not the same fight like Pedraza's fight, you know.
Okay. All right. So we got one I think it's a better fight. MC, do you agree this is a better fight, more dangerous fight, more tricky fight, or do you think it's going to be an easier fight for Teofimo?
I think this is going to be a way better fight. I'm so excited. I can't wait. We're actually going to be there at the fight. The whole card is going to be amazing. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to be in attendance, right? But I'm so excited that not that something happened to Pedraza, right? Because they said he's like sick or something. But I'm excited that Sandor was able to replace him. I'm glad that he was fight ready. That shows you what type of fighter he is. It shows you that right now his main priority is to become a world champion. So he has already upset it before. He's used to fighting away from his homeland, right? So he's actually Spaniard, which is a huge thing. They're not really known for their boxers. So I think that he has a whole country behind him, right? Because they don't really get a lot of fighters. So I'm excited to see him perform. I think New York, it's also like the land of opportunity. I wasn't there where Cambosos also defeated Teofimop Lopez, right? So I'm not saying he's gonna lose, but you know, it could happen. Anything can happen in boxing, like Malena said earlier, right? So I'm excited for the fight. I hope that he's ready for it. And like you said, I don't think he's grounded. We've seen this before. I think one of the changes that he does need to make, I think he needs to have a different head coach, right? A different head corner. I'm not saying your father cannot be part of the picture. He can still be there. He can be the assistant coach. He's always going to be your family, right? So I think it will be great for him to get someone else. And I think that's something that more fighters should do. There's nothing wrong with going to a different gym and learning something else. I think Devin Haney has done a really good job at that, and it shows. So I'm excited for the fight. Can't wait.
Okay, all right. Hot Boxing Minute, when Cambosos beat Teofimo, they call it the biggest win for an Australian boxer. Could this be the biggest win for a Spanish boxer ever?
Debatable, maybe. Kiko Martinez has pulled off some crazy miracles in the past. I think it's great that MC mentioned that, because Spain doesn't have so many champions, most countries are far more appreciative of their champions than we are here. We're a bit spoiled here in the States, but yeah, Sandor Martin, if he was to pull off the upset, it's a battle of two dark horses here. One dark horse is, what is Teofimop's mindset? I still haven't seen him acknowledge his loss to George Kambosos Jr., and that is, that's definitely something to take into consideration, because if you didn't see the mistake you made, you're bound to make that same mistake again. As MC was saying, is he going to have assistance in his corner? I'm not sure if he might need extra help in the coaching corner for a guy like Sandor Martin, but Sandor Martin has shown that he is not one to take lightly. He was the European 140 champion going into that fight with Mikey Garcia, and none of us gave him a shot in that fight. I was very shocked as that fight unfolded, because it was very clear that Mikey Garcia just didn't have the hoots before it anymore. He clearly doesn't want it, made his millions with Errol Spence, and he's done. I think it's definitely a better fight than Pedraza. I like Pedraza. Pedraza, despite the fact he has his losses, it was against the best of the best in his division. He constantly gets knocked down and climbs himself back up into title contention, and that speaks for his grit and determination. Where Pedraza, the speed that Pedraza moves with, he only stays in one gear the whole fight. He doesn't switch volumes or his speed up. Sandor Martin will change his speed of attack and his pacing. And unfortunately, Sandor Martin doesn't have that kind of knockout power we love to see, but that hasn't stopped him from having a lot of success. He does have a loss to Andrew Yigit. That was years ago, but he's riding a wave of confidence coming into this fight. So it's the two things. What mindset is Teofimo going into this? Is he dismissing Sandor Martin? I hope he isn't, because Sandor Martin's definitely a live dog, and it should be a very, very fun fight. I don't know if the way Sandor Martin changes his timing up and he's defensively responsible, it might present problems for Teofimo as far as timing him. He's not exactly a slow plotter like what Pedro Campa, his last opponent. So I'm still leaning in favor of Teofimo, but he better not take that dude Sandor Martin lightly. He's not one to play around with.
Well, Gail, is the Spaniard going to play Ole like a matador in this fight successfully, or is he going to get knocked out? Do you think it's a better fight than the Pedraza fight? How do you feel about it?
Oh, I'm much more enthusiastic about this fight. I'm right with MC on this. Oh my God, it's going to be a good evening for you. Enjoy it. I think Lopez could get himself in trouble. A fighter that's hungry like Martin, that's willing to bet on himself, I'm going to give him a little extra margin every time. No, he's not a knockout artist, but Teofimo has really been pushed to the limit by guys who are not knockout artists, right? So he cannot take him lightly. He needs to be smart. He definitely has a coaching problem, because if he needs to adjust during this fight, if Martin surprises him or he's really not well prepared, adjusting for him is a challenge, and he's certainly getting no help from the corner. He is on his own if he needs to shift things up. I like a hungry guy willing to step in and step up a lot. Be an interesting thing to see yet another surprise, another upset win over Lopez. He's looked good coming back, but I am not convinced he's back up here. He has got still a lot going on. That relationship with his father is messy. He's got his personal issues still bubbling back there behind him. Let's see. Can he get his head? Can Lopez get his head straight enough to get his skills sharp? That's what I wonder. In the meantime, you have Martin hell bent on getting this victory. Again, I wouldn't bet my mortgage on Martin, but I'd bet some play money on him. That's for sure.
Beeb, how are you feeling about this this fight? Do you like it better than the Pedraza fight? And it can Sandor Martin do it again, just like he did in the Mikey Garcia fight?
Yeah, I think this is a trickier assignment than the Pedraza fight, and Martin does have some momentum going into this fight. He's actually a plus 600, and Teofimop Lopez is a minus 750. That's not always a good thing for Teofimop Lopez because, as it was said earlier in the panel, that's when he starts to get a little bit too overconfident. And if you look at the Campa fight, to me, he used a lot of the same tactics in that fight that he did in the Kambosos fight. He was loading up with shots, throwing one punch at a time, trying to get Campa out of there with a bomb. And it took him 7 rounds to do it, where he didn't really, I think, set the shots up properly. I thought he kind of rushed his offense a little bit, looked a little bit sloppy, a little bit overzealous in there. But again, he's still got the win and he got the knockout and did what he had to do, and he was coming off a layoff. The thing about Martin's very crafty, right? He's a very crafty southpaw. He's tricky, and it was crazy watching him against Mikey Garcia, and he actually outsmarted Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia was the guy who was actually the aggressor in that fight, where more often than not, he's the guy who's laying back and setting the traps and being the counterpuncher. But Martin beat Mikey Garcia at his own game. He was walking him into shots, stepping around them, giving him angles, a lot of subtle side steps, and Garcia just couldn't pin him down. So it's hard to not favor Lopez in this fight, but this is a fight where he can't, slip up a bit. He can't lose focus in this fight. He's got to be dialed in 100%. And if, a guy like Martin, who's a great counterpuncher, if you're just going to come at him with one punch at a time, you're going to be loading up with the shots, and, you're going to just think you're going to touch the guy and get him out of there with one shot. He's a hard guy to hit clean. He's not going to stand still for you. And if you're only going to throw one punch at a time, he's going to be able to pick up on that and get a rhythm for what you're doing. If you become predictable in there, he's going to pick up on it. He's going to expose you. So this is a fight that, like I said, Lopez should win, but it's a fight that he could look bad in. It could be more difficult than anticipated. So, yeah, I think Martin could be the spoiler here, but it's I don't know. Maybe it's worth putting a little tickle on Martin. Why not? At plus 600, why not?
Plus 600. Shushan, do you remember the feeling you had while you were watching the Garcia fight? Do you think you're going to see that again? Are you feeling the same thing? Oh, you're muted, brother.
Am I muted?
Yeah, not now. You're good.
Okay, yeah. No, not necessarily, because he was coming off a considerable layoff, and Mikey seems to balloon up in weight every time he takes a long layoff. But you know what? This is an entirely different test and a much, much more better quality opponent, because Pedraza's already lost to some big names. He's moved up in weight multiple times. He's coming off a big loss to Ramirez. This was an easy, almost another tune-up for him to get adjusted to the 140-pound weight class. And now he fights Sandor Martin, who's riding this tremendous wave of momentum, having one of the biggest upsets of that prior year against Mikey Garcia. So the confidence level is going to be there for the Spanish fighter. And not only that, but he brings a totally different type of fight to it. It's like fighting Demetrius Andrade, and why so many people don't want to fight him. It could look really bad. He could end up winning the fight, but look poor and look like someone who's not going to be dominant in the 140-pound division. So it's much, much more competitive. And, with this theme that I've been saying, December is going to shape up to be a really, really good fight month, actually. This fight weekend and then the following week, I think you're going to have Rivera versus Frank Martin, 2 top contenders at 135 pounds. And then we round out the year with this fantastic, end of the year fight we just talked about. So, yeah, it's going to be a very dangerous fight for him, for Teofimo, and we'll see how it plays out. I think he's going to get the victory, but look poor.
Yeah, I think he's going to get knocked the fuck out. I think I give him 3 rounds and he's out. Look, I think Sandor Martin's going to get knocked out. I just want to put that out there. You know what I mean? I think Teofimop Lopez is going to make a statement. I think he's going to make, and I'm glad because nobody's wrong about Sandor. Sandor Martin's a good fighter, but he's going to get caught with some big. He's never felt something like that, like what he's about to feel early in that fight, and he's going to get taken out. And I think Teofimop Lopez, in my opinion, he's on his way to prove to people that was the worst version of himself against Kambosos. And if people want to judge him by the worst version of himself, go ahead. And I think Martin, he's like the Spanish. It's like boxing Spanish version of Vanilla Ice. So, he got his one-hit wonder, you know what I mean? Ice Ice Baby, and all that good stuff. And people will remember, man, and you know what people are going to say? I can't believe Mikey lost to that dude. Because ain't nobody here picked this dude away. We all knew who he was. And he lost to Yigit, and I could dig it. But I'm just going to tell you right now, and I understand fighters improve, but he was not supposed to win that Mikey Garcia fight. I saw Mikey Garcia do an interview with Mauricio Suleiman just about a month before that. Dude looked like a wall. He looked like Andy Ruiz. I thought I saw Andy Ruiz. I was like, wait, is that Andy Ruiz? Wait, Mikey, what? Like he was talking to Mauricio about eating tacos. That's a bad sign. Okay? Whenever a Mexican fighter is talking about tacos before a fight, they lose. Okay? It's just the way it is. All right? I'm just saying. But that just wasn't the real Mikey, bro. Like he had a weight camp, right? And then even Robert knew that wasn't him because he wasn't pushing him to go forward. He wasn't pushing him. There was no urgency in the corner. They kind of knew they were just getting another check out of Eddie Hearn in the zone. I mean, that's really what it was at the end of the day. In my opinion, Mikey fights him 10 times. Mikey wins 9 times. It's my opinion. All right. But I think the theory will be tested. I think Martin is going to go to sleep. Good night. I think Teofimop Lopez is going to make a statement in this fight, in my opinion. We will see, though. You know what I mean?
What's up with the fat shaming again?
No, I'm not fat shaming.
You gotta calm down with this fat shaming, please.
I'm ready for it. I hope he does TKO there because I want to be there for that. He actually fought the night that me and my husband got married, and we played his fight during our small little wedding that we had. Just because I feel like Teofimo was such an amazing fight. He had the performance that he had against Lomachenko was like incredible. You saw this fighter come together. It all worked out for him. I feel like his wife. It was all perfect. And then he just
I don't know if it was Shushan. I don't know if it was Shushan Boxing that mentioned it, but that Teofimo had Joey Gamache in the corner. Still looked a lot like the one we all fell in love with. But against Pedro Campa, I saw, if anything, regression. And that's something to take note. He shouldn't be regressing at his age. We should only be seeing progress as young as he is. No. So I still think Teo's going to win a 3rd round knockout. That would be something spectacular. It was weird because against Pedro Campa, he got the stoppage, but looked unremarkable up until he got the stoppage. And like I said, it looked like he had regressed a bit to me. But
sloppy, right? Sloppy?
Yeah.
Very sloppy.
But he won almost every round. He knocked the guy out. I mean,
he did.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think with everyone saying, "Oh, this is the dude. He's going to give him trouble." Like, even I know what the odds are, but I'm sure the Lopez's, they hear things, and I know they do because they take a lot of stuff people say personal, right? So like they're going to hear, "Oh, this guy's tricky, and he's going to give them so many problems," and they're going to hear all that, and they're going to come out, they're going to prove a point. So I mean, I don't think Sandor Martin's any better than like a lot of the dudes here. Is he that much better? Is he better than Comey? Like is he better than Loma? Is he better than the guy like Magdaleno?
Let me ask you this though.
Comey, for sure.
Yeah, let me ask you this though. The opponent switch. Do you think that'll throw Teo off a little bit? Preparing for a Pedraza, then going to a Martin.
It has to, for sure. That's going to play. So that's why
that could throw him off a bit.
So instead of like a 3rd round knockout, it'd be like a 4 or 5 round knockout. Campa
went
that extra round.
Campa went 7. Campa went 7 with him. So,
well, we will see, man. So Campa had a hard head. Like, you know what I mean? That dude could take a punch. Like, all you're gonna hear, and MC will be there. Like, you're gonna hear. It's gonna hear like something like, "Wah!" And you're gonna see that head just like bounce off like in the air in the wind and shit. He's gonna fall down. I'm just telling you.
If the over/under is 7,
Sandor Martin, he don't got a big head like the previous opponent. He got a little peanut head. He's gonna get knocked out, bro.
I mean, did you see the World Cup score? It was 7-0. Spain won today 7-0.
Hey, this was a soccer game. Oh, Sandor Martin might score goals all night on Teofimo, but we're not playing soccer. You know what I mean?
If the over/under is 7, you better take the under here then, because you're really high on this under.
Well, hey.
3 rounds.
I think the problem with this fight is that Teofimo was prepared himself to fight against an orthodox, and Sandor is Sudpa. That's the real problem, in my opinion. And I think Sandor is hungry, is completely hungry. Since, do you remember the conditions that he beat Garcia? You know, Garcia.
He beat Love Handles Garcia.
Yeah, but
Please, with the fat shaming, please.
Tacos Garcia.
I get it,
Please.
but at the end of the day, now it's also my job to make sure my opponent looks good, to make sure that when I beat him, I get credit for that. No, I'm sorry, but no.
No, he gets credit, but like when we're analyzing if
because
he
he
could
was
beat
fat.
Teofimo, right?
I don't think that Sandor is going to beat Teofimo, but he's going to give him big problems, and he's going to expose him. You know, Teo needs to recover just a little bit of humble. You know, he needs to be a humble person again, because he moves to 140. Super lightweight division. And he said, yes, I will be undisputed, and then I will move up, and then I will move up. Come on. This is boxing, you know. And do you remember what happened in Camboso's fight? Cambosos knocked him down, you know.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
I think Cambosos is better than Sandor Martin.
Here's the problem. I don't think so. Here's the problem. We're not seeing any changes in Teofimop Lopez. Like he still has that same mentality of delusion. And if you still are deluded, then you can't fix anything if you don't think anything is wrong. And his father is just yelling, screaming in the corner, not giving him any direction, you know. And the reason why Gamache isn't there anymore is because they couldn't afford him. They didn't have enough money to pay him. You know, it's a shame. They got rid of the strength and conditioning coach. So if you're looking to improve, then you need to take the steps to improve. If you're not going to make those changes, then I just don't see how you're going to improve. But again, you know, this is a fight he's supposed to win. The odds makers have it set, just like you're saying it's going to go. So your prediction is not out of line. I'm not saying that at all, but I have my doubts about Teofimop Lopez. I'm just skeptical about the guy.
He has an advantage. He's completely secure about himself. You know, he knows what he can do, and this is really good in boxing. Security is really good in boxing, but you can't look forward to on your opponent. You know, everybody thought, me too, that Mikey Garcia was going to give, a knockout to Sandor Martin. You know, and look at what happened. So this is the same.
I'm glad this looks like the Brady Bunch, because this is a story of a man named Martin. He's going to get knocked out in the ring by round 4, no matter what the panel says. You know, I'm just saying. But anyway, I hear you guys. But hey, I hope you're right. I hope it is a good fight. I will say this, though, that if Sandor Martin wins rounds, it's not going to be an exciting fight. I don't think that's his path to victory is not like going out there and slugging it out with Teofimop Lopez. And
it has to be a boring fight for him to win, because if the fight's exciting, that means it's going to be a shootout, and that's not designed for him to win. You're 100% right on that one.
So I'm not going to say what people usually say. Oh, I hope you're right. I hope it's a great fight. Because this is a competitive fight. It's not going to be an exciting fight.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
he has to slow the pace down. He has to slow the pace of the fight down.
So y'all pro boring fight. Like, that's what I'm hearing. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, you know,
tactical fight.
Sweet sign.
No, I just want to see him be I want to see a better version of Teofimo, who could possibly beat a Regis Prograis. Are you going to be able to get it in there with a guy like that?
That's another.
Well, you're at the 140. You're at the 140, baby. That's what it's all about now.
That's like
the 140 is one of the best weight
jumping from
Pop
Warner to the NFL.
Yeah, ultimately, D-Style, you know, a year ago it was a foregone conclusion that Teofimo would right away get an opportunity to fight Josh Taylor for his 4 titles. Now, if he struggles against Martin this Saturday and wins, it's actually better, because one way or another, we're going to have a southpaw as a world champion this Saturday, whether it's Zepeda or Regis Prograis. The more rounds that Teofimo gets against a slick southpaw, the better for him.
Very true. Very true. Speaking of Regis Prograis, We're going to start with you, MC, since you brought him up. You know what I mean? But first of all, I cannot think of any worse weekend, like if I was a fighter, to fight in than the weekend of Thanksgiving, right? Because your family's going to be eating Thanksgiving dinner and you can't eat anything because you have the weigh-in the next morning, right? And then you got to fight like that weekend. I mean, this is crazy, right? So I guess they could, save me some. They get the leftovers, I guess. You know what I mean? Microwave it. Okay, Sunday, But MC, really simple question. Prograis Zepeda. Who's going to win this fight?
Regis all the way, baby. Texas, I think, yes, Regis. And you know what's worse than having to fight on fight week? Having a car accident on your fight week.
Oh, man.
And that's what happened to Zepeda, unfortunately. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, after you win that fight, guess what? You get to have 20 turkeys if you want. So, Regis all the way.
Okay, Regis by knockout, decision, award.
So I think it's if it's I do think it might go full distance. I think that Regis also has one of the best corners out there. Bobby is amazing. He did such an amazing job with the Miguel Flores versus Abner Mares. Literally, like he gave him best guidance that he could have, and I think that's going to make a difference. Regis, I think, might get the stoppage, maybe like a late 11 round or something, but I don't see, and I also don't completely see him get like losing every round either. Zepeda, I mean, it is going to be a good fight. Zepeda is a warrior. He's going to do good, but at the end of the day, Regis is more experienced, and he's going to be able to figure him out and get him out of there. If not, he's going to get a majority decision, I think.
All right, okay. Boxing Dev, who do you got in this fight?
I like Regis, but I think they are going to give us a really, really good fight. Zepeda is hungry too. He wants his title shot for a long time. In my opinion, Regis won against Josh Taylor, and he's trying to face him again. Or have a chance to fight against for a title shot. But I think Regis is going to win. But Zepeda is a warrior. He gave us a really, really good fight against Ivan Baranchyk that finalized that ends in a technical knockout, but was an amazing fight. Then the level of both is been a little bit down. Jose Vargas has no level compared to Regis Prograis, and the last opponent of Regis was I don't remember the name of the guy, but
Tyron McKenna.
Yes, Tyron McKenna. Sorry, Zepeda is better than Tyron McKenna, but as I said, I got Regis winning.
All right, shout out to Nando Llamas. Regis is tough, but no boogeyman. Hasn't done anything in years since losing a clear decision to Taylor. Sean is a real 140-pound spoiler. Zepeda by KO, he says. Thanks for the support, brother.
That's not possible, If you remember the fight between,
I thought I was making both statements.
No, Zepeda by knockout. No.
That's
if you remember that fight between Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis, the face of Taylor, the face of Regis, that man is not going to be knocked out right now. He
made Taylor look like Quasimodo, like you know what I mean? But
and Taylor didn't want to see Regis again. Do you remember?
I thought Regis won. I had Regis winning that fight. I had him eking it out. I thought he won. I don't have an argument either way, but it was close.
Gail, who are you favoring in this fight?
No, I don't think it's going to be a KO. Maybe it could be maybe if I will have a knockdown at the end of the fight, because they are going to hit harder all of the fight, and maybe at the end el que más aguante es el que se va a mantener de pie, you know, and maybe a knockdown at the end, but I think it's going to finish in the scorecards.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gail, who are you favoring in this fight?
I think you have to go with Prograis. He's been on the bigger stages. He's a smarter guy in the ring. They could both bang. I'd love to see them both just go at it. But again, just like we were talking about the last fight, the more it leans toward a bit more tactical, the better for Prograis. And I think he'll prevail. He wants back in badly. You know, he has just been, his career has just been buried the last couple of years after the loss to Taylor. You know, fighting on Triller did him no favors at all, and maybe to his wallet if he got paid. Who the heck knows if he really got all his money. And it leaves him a little hungry, and I like fighters who are hungry. It's going to be a fun fight to watch, I think, even if it leans slightly more technical than it could be. We're certainly not going to be in for a boring fight. And I think it is very possible that Prograis gets sort of an attrition style TKO, that he's just taken the life out of Zepeda, you know, a few punches at a time, and a referee finally stops in round 11 or 12 to end the fight.
Okay. Joe Habib, how do you see this one, brother?
I like Zepeda, but I love Regis Prograis as a fighter. I just think he's just so talented. He's so versatile. And in that Josh Taylor fight, it was nip and tuck in the beginning. And actually, Prograis was fighting Josh Taylor's fight in those middle to late rounds, and he was actually having success against Josh Taylor on the inside. So he, grit his teeth, bit down in his mouthpiece. And this guy can win in a numerous amount of ways. He's got way more ways to win than Zepeda. He's a slick southpaw, but he's got a very, very high knockout ratio. He's got a sneaky left hand. It's like a bullet when he throws it right down the pike. It's hard to see it. It's hard to time it. He can be the counter puncher. He can be the aggressor. I just think he has the speed advantage, and I give him the slight power advantage as well. This can be like the bull versus the matador, but I think the bull is going to get hit with something coming in hard, and I think he's going to walk into a big left hand, and I think he's going to sleep in about 8 rounds. I think Prograis is going to get an emphatic highlight reel type knockout against Zepeda. And I like Zepeda. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I just think Prograis he's on another level. In my opinion, he's the best 140 pounder out there. I think he's more talented than Josh Taylor.
All right. Shoeshine. Are you the odd man out, or are you going to just go with the herd? How do you feel about it?
Nation for a smaller regional promoter getting the fight and taking this huge fight. Like you guys said, it's on Thanksgiving Day weekend, but it's not often we see smaller promoters be successful, and the card is going to be stacked with local talent. Ruben Torres, Fernando Vargas's 2 sons are going to be on this card. And let's not forget the venue, which is going to be StubHub, which is, one of the most fantastic venues in Southern California for all-out action fights. And that's what this promises to be. Will it have any effect in favor of Zepeda? I'm a huge fan of Chon Zepeda, who had that Fight of the Year candidate with Ivan Baranchyk, where they exchanged 8 knockdowns. And that's actually a big deal, because I think Zepeda's punch resistance is shot, and he's up against some tough opposition this Saturday. Arguably, both of these guys could have been world champions. Zepeda could have easily have been favored and beat Ramirez in his fight, and a lot of people will say Prograis beat Josh Taylor. These 2 guys could have been world champions, and all the history would have been rewritten. But now they fight each other for an opportunity for this belt. And Zepeda, his punch resistance is shot. He's got a really lazy jab, and he loves to clinch and hold on the inside, which is going to favor Regis Prograis because he's a fantastic inside fighter. He's also, like B pointed out, got this lightning fast left hand power shot. And I think he's going to time Zepeda. He's going to figure him out really quickly and start to put a beat down on Zepeda, unfortunately. And with that shot punch resistance from being knocked down so many times in his career, it's most likely going to end in a late stoppage. Again, I'm a huge fan of Chon Zepeda, and I hope for the fans it's going to be a fantastic fight at the StubHub. Well, it used to be known as the StubHub, whatever they call it now. Yeah. Oh, by the way, D-Styles, I got to bounce, man. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed Thanksgiving weekend. I'm on Monday nights on the Shoe Shine right here on YouTube. Thanks a lot, D-Styles. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Peace out.
Thanksgiving, David.
Absolutely, brother. There we go. Well, that's 5-0 so far. Will it may be 6-0? Hot boxing minute. Talk to us. How do you see this fight?
Woo! First off, let's start with my shameless behavior. To begin with, the Yocasta Valle Evelyn Bermudez fight, much like the men in boxing, those minimum weights, those flyweights, and that's like the best cream of the crop right there as far as the women fighters are concerned. Yocasta Valle, Evelyn Bermudez, Sinisa Estrada, Tina Rupert. It's just stacked down there. That fight's going to be awesome. Extra on the shameless. 3 fighters from my gym are going to be on that card. Austin Brooks, Mario Ramos, Jacob Makala-Oloy. I'm very proud of them. We were trying to get Raquel Miller a fight, but nobody wants that smoke with her, apparently. And that fight between Regis Prograis and Jose
the toughest
Zepeda,
ones have the hardest road sometimes.
Right. I love both those fighters a lot. I like Jose Zepeda. I like Regis Prograis. 2 southpaws. Both of them bring very different skill sets into that ring. We already know that Jose Zepeda has 1-punch stopping power. Regis Prograis is more cumulative stopping power. He'll just gradually wear you down. And in a situation like that, where I like both fighters, I'm going to always default to the fighter that has more skill set, more tools in his box. And I don't think anybody will debate that Regis Prograis just has more tools. And he can, like the other gentleman that just left mentioned, he can bring it to you inside, outside, mid-range, up close. It's just all bad. There's so many different ways. Pick your poison. I don't see a 1-punch knockout happening for my guy Chon. And he had a lot of things going on outside the ring, oddly enough, with the incident in the gym, the car accident. That's not a good sign at all. But I'm going to have to join the panel with a 6-0 sweep. I'm going with Regis Prograis to win, possibly by late stoppage.
Yeah, it's like the movie Final Destination. He's dodging all these things, but he's going to dodge the big power punch of Regis Prograis. I don't know, but to me, the red flags are these for Zepeda. I like Zepeda a lot. I'm not counting him out. I think that right hand can make a difference. Even if it doesn't knock out Prograis, it could turn the whole fight around, right? But the Lundy fight, I remember watching the fight thinking to myself, what the hell's going on here? Like, you're not supposed to struggle in this fight against an aging, out of his prime Lundy, right? And the Joshua Vargas fight, I just don't think we saw enough in that fight. Like, he got the win and all, but I've always said first-round knockouts are the most deceiving knockouts in boxing. I stand firm by that. So we didn't learn anything by that. And I highly doubt he's going to knock out Prograis in round 1. I highly doubt that. So he's going to get hit. He's going to get hit back even when he lands. And how is he going to take that punch of Regis, who is one of the hardest punchers in his division? I'm going to favor Regis Prograis to win this fight, and I think he does win by late round stoppage. I do agree with Beeb's assessment of that. But we will see. All right. We will see how that goes. I want to do a quick cap or no cap. I'm going to quote Tyson Fury. All right. And I want to know what the chat thinks too. You guys let me know if this is all cap or no cap.
It's cap if it's Tyson Fury.
Well, it's already capped. It's already a favorite to be capped.
Yeah,
by default. By default.
By default, it's cap. Okay, next segment.
Yeah, move on.
So Fury claims, and I quote, "No Usyk fight, then bring on Joe Joyce. He'll get in the ring with Joe Joyce," he says, "if Usyk's not ready by," I think he said February of next year. Like, are you kidding me? But okay. MC, cap or no cap?
Total cap.
Total cap, okay. Boxing Dev, is that all cap or is he telling the truth?
I don't know what that means.
Is he lying or not lying?
Joyce against Fury?
He said that if Usyk's not ready by February, bring on Joyce, he said.
You can't believe in Fury until you have him into the ring, because he needs to be into the ring to say, hey, he's going to fight.
He's like that song, right? Like I believe I could fly. No, you can't. I don't care. Nobody can fly. You can't believe in Fury.
I can't believe I love Fury. I love Fury. I love his style. He's
No, you
he's the
don't.
best heavyweight. You know, I want that fight against Usyk, but till we haven't him into the ring, I can say no cap. You know, he's not going to fight against Joyce. He's going to fight for third time against Chisora. That
Man,
fight has no sense. You know.
you and Bieber need to let it go. Like stop the love of Fury. You need to let it go. You know what I mean?
I will have to say though that I might take my answer back because he cannot travel outside of England. So guess what? He might have to take this Joyce fight because he can't fight in America. So maybe his options are starting to get smaller now, where he might have to take this big fight if the Usyk doesn't happen. I don't know. So sorry, just wanted to add that.
Okay. Gail, do you believe him? Is he going to fight Joyce if the Usyk fight don't happen?
All right. So there's two different questions here. Do I believe what he said that he might like to do it? That's impossible to prove. So, you know, does he want to have a fight after Usyk? And I agree. I think his choices are getting limited by the fact that he cannot fight in the United States. He doesn't really want to blow a big money pay-per-view Vegas type fight here. So Joyce is a good alternative if it's got to be in the UK. And I don't hate that fight. I think suggesting it, you can't prove whether that's a lie or not. Will it happen? Yeah, it's boxing. This is boxing. We believe it when the tickets go on sale, when we walk through the door and we put our butts down in the seats. That's when we believe it.
Beeb, cap or no cap?
This is tough, but I'm gonna have to say cap. I don't think he'll fight Joyce before he fights Usyk. I think the Usyk fight has to come first. I think the Joyce fight would come after the Usyk fight, but not before it. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay.
If I'm advising him, I would tell him not to take that fight first. To be honest.
Hot boxing. It's all cap or no cap?
Man, first off, let me share my PTSD with Tyson Fury. I spent years defending that guy. Years. I loved his story coming back from depression, obesity, and substance abuse to climb that mountain to be champion again, only for him to turn into the total disaster that he's become the last year or so. Clearly, he cares very little about anybody else outside of himself, and I don't know whether he's speaking the truth or not. I'm going to say cap because he said, I believe him, I'm not mistaken, in addition to that, he's willing to fight 3 times this year. So he goes from, I'm going to retire to, you know, Anthony Joshua, I give you 2 weeks to come up with a decision to all of a sudden I'm going to fight 3 times in a year. If he is going to fight anybody, like my man Habib was saying, like other people, panelists here were saying, he's going to fight Alexander Usyk. And maybe he does take the War Chisora fight for that good, easy paycheck to give that sending off, you know, compensation package to Del Boy while he rides off into retirement. But no, that's cap. He's not fighting Joe Joyce.
Okay. All right. It's all cap. Like he first of all, February, bro. Like Usyk's got to be rated by. What's with these stupid deadlines, self-imposed deadlines that he does? It's just the whole thing's dumb, bro. All right. And look, and I know he does it because he wants to show that he's in charge and he's in control, and you're going to go by his rules and when he says. And but that doesn't help make the fights happen. You know that's all I'm saying. So it is what it is. I don't think Usyk gives a shit about all that. To be honest with you, like I don't think he cares if he feels in charge and. I think he wants to fight, but I mean, will he be ready by then? I don't know, but we will see. Look, Zach Parker versus John Ryder. Beef. Start us off with this one. Who do you got in this fight, brother?
Oh wow, this is a tough one, but
Canelo.
But I'm gonna have to say, Zach Parker. I like the size advantage. And once again, he can bang on the inside as well. I think Ryder is kind of a plotting type, but he's really good at feinting his way in, moving his head. he just how to work his way in and be an elusive target at the same time. And we saw how Danny Jacobs had a hard time pinning him down with the jab, and that's why he was able to get inside on Danny Jacobs. But the thing here is Parker, like I said, he can hold his own on the inside, and he's got a good jab himself. And I think he's the heavier hitter. I think he's the bigger, stronger guy. And because of that, I'm going to have to say Parker is probably going to outwork. He's going to outwork him, and I think he's going to get a hard fought decision, but it's going to be a clear decision.
Okay, all right. Hot Boxing Minute, who do you favor in this fight, brother?
I'm definitely high on Zach Parker. He's undefeated. He hasn't really quite faced the opposition that John Ryder has, but in that defense, John Ryder has lost every time he reached for the top. John Ryder did have a good showing against a clearly uninspired Danny Jacobs' his last fight. Danny Jacobs is bigger, longer, more reach, but Danny Jacobs, that's the shell of the Danny Jacobs. I like Zach Parker. I think Zach Parker is obviously he's bigger, he's longer, he's hungrier, and his body work is awesome. I like Zach Parker's just his mindset. He is such a spiteful fighter, and I love when I see that in fighters. And he is not going to, if there's any kind of easing up on John Ryder's part, if he looks at all like he's getting hurt, Zach Parker's going to finish the job. And I think Zach Parker might even get the stoppage late. I think he's going to put in the body work and invest in it heavily early. Like Habib was saying, John Ryder's footwork, he is kind of a slow plotter. He does have good little small crafty moves to get inside. Zach Parker's got good strong legs. He's not, a mover and a shaker a la Sugar Ray Leonard or anything like that, but he definitely has more mobility and agility inside that ring. And I feel like in my head, I envision Zach Parker just eating John Ryder alive. And I think there's going to be a late stoppage due to the body work that Zach Parker puts in. So I'm going late stoppage, Zach Parker.
I guess I got to read this, but it is.
You have to say it. You have to say it.
Man, somebody.
Fury is the best of all time.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah. Say that with conviction. Say that with conviction.
If time started last year, sure. I mean, but
say that
shout
with
out
conviction.
to shout out to Ringside Reporter. Shout out to Beeb. She got the show every Sunday. All right.
Oh my Lord.
I was choked on my water right now.
Gail, talk to us. Not about that, but about this. Man, I lost my train of thought. Zach Parker versus John Ryder. Who do you got in that fight?
I'm with my man Jeffrey on Hot Boxing Minute on this. Parker is the fresher fighter. He's only 20, or he's only 2 years younger, 28 to 30 for Ryder, but there's a lot of mileage on Ryder. And I'm gonna sound like a damn hypocrite when I say this. I would acknowledge.
I think Ryder's 34.
Is he that much older? I thought he was in his early 30s. And in any event, there's not a huge age difference, but there's definitely a mileage difference. And Ryder has 5 losses. And yeah, at the top of the show, I said we need to stop being obsessed with losses. We can't write guys off with losses. And we can't. There is something about when somebody has lost that many times, it's sort of easier to let go of the effort when things get really tough near the end of a fight. Guy who wasn't lost fights so much harder to keep their record clean. You've lost 5 times, oh hell, it's not fatal. I got fights after I lost. You start rationalizing it, and once you start doing that near the end of a fight, you're in trouble. I could be completely wrong about that, but for all those reasons added on to what everybody said, this is a Parker fight.
I believe this is going to be one of those fights where people are going to look back and say, man, you could argue Ryder won, but he didn't, right? Like, I just feel like it's going to be one of those fights. That's what it was. Like, a lot of people like to say he won to Callum. I scored for Callum Smith. It was close, but I thought Callum Smith won. But I think when he does better than expected, people tend to say, well, he could have won, he should have won. But I think Zach Parker will win a close decision, in my opinion. But MC, how do you see it?
So this is a great fight to watch prior to the Regis fight. This is going to get us excited. It's going to be during the day. right? So along with some soccer to go with it, I'm ready for this weekend. So excited. I think that, again, like you guys said, Parker is going to be winning this fight. John Ryder, again, he has too many miles already. He's been through the ring already with amazing fighters, and he has not been able to win. He lost to Billy Joe Saunders. He lost to Caleb Smith. He also lost to Rocky Fieldman. So now we could possibly see a fight between the winner of this fight, which could be John Ryder. Now you're going to fight Canelo when Canelo already fought Rocky Fieldman. Wow, that's kind of weird, right? To me, it is. So I don't know. But I see Parker winning that. And I think it will be great to add someone else into the mix. Like I said, we've already seen John Ryder. And I do think that this fight will be in England. Once Canelo is ready, I think he will be fighting the winner of this fight in England next year in Cinco de Mayo. So I'm excited for, I guess, to see who's going to win and who's going to get the Canelo ticket, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just like the unspoken, like, Canelo sweepstakes fight. Like, like nobody's saying it, but everyone's kind of suspecting that's what it is. Boxing Dev, what do you favor in this matchup with Zach Parker and John Ryder?
I would say that I didn't study enough to talk about this fight, so I will pass.
Okay, no problem. No problem. You could say Zach Parker. Just say Zach Parker. I was playing. No, but I think Zach Parker's going to win for sure. All right. And I do think there's my calculations say there's about a 90% chance the winner of this fight is going to get Canelo in May. I think that's what's going to happen, in my opinion. Does it happen? You guys think he's going to go to England?
Yeah, he's going to the UK.
I hope so.
Yeah, he's
so.
going to the
that
UK.
would be so rad.
Eddie said he wants to bring him to the UK, and Canelo said he wants to go.
Does Mexico invade the UK like they did the World Cup, or
they'll get some free tickets?
They'll get some, but this is a big
I mean,
fight.
it's an easy fight.
There. And this gives Canelo
like they're practically just.
It gives him some motivation. He has done so much, achieved so much in his career. He needs new challenges, and fighting there in a boxing crazy country, that's the kind of accomplishment he likes.
I feel like that's a benchmark for greatness of fighters. When they're champions of that caliber and they start traveling overseas and start spreading the good gospel of boxing overseas, that's when they reach a certain level of special. And I would love it if you went to the UK.
That's what fighters used to do, though.
You know what would be? You know what else would be awesome too? If he was to fight Benavidez in Mexico, that would be great.
At the risk of
that would be phenomenal.
In person, I would love it. I would love to see that.
I may even buy D-Style a ticket to that one.
Wow.
Does this fight benefit him though and prepare him for the winner of Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez? Or is it just another award that you get? Oh, here, make yourself feel better. But yet you could be possibly facing the biggest guy in 168. Or you could also be fighting your rematch who happens to have your number, Bivol. I don't know.
I don't like the Bivol fight.
I don't think he wants.
Maybe you should have taken Andrade. Maybe someone like Boo Boo.
I have a feeling he's gonna be talked out of taking that Bivol fight, and he's gonna go in another direction. I could be wrong, but
Bivol is. I think the only way he fights Bivol, if there is the opportunity to become the unified light heavyweight champion down the road, Bivol beats Beterbiev. I think at that point, the risk-reward ratio changes enough for Canelo.
And if Beterbiev softens him up a little bit, you know what I mean? Like in the fights 2 months later, you never know. I mean, A-sides do A-side things.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a tough fight.
And also more like roadmaps. Now I can this is how I can get Bivol. We still haven't seen what someone like Arthur is going to be able to do against someone like Bivol. That's to me the fight of the year next year. 2023 Arthur versus Bivol would be wow.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with all that for sure. Look, Jonas, as we know, she just became unified at 154 pounds. It's still surreal because she was just fighting like at 130 pounds and lightweight a couple like just last year. But here she is, unified champion. Harper is the other champion in the division. For those that don't know, anybody watching, they already fought at 130 pounds. Harper won a very controversial decision in what was one of the best women fights I've ever seen. Didn't do the fight. It's to me from the outside looking in, it was like an obvious, like, oh, undisputed 154. Let's go.
It was a draw. It was a draw, D-Style.
It was a draw. I apologize. Yeah. But either way, she didn't win the belt. Okay, but thank you for the correction. But nonetheless, it was a controversial decision. Nonetheless, people felt Jonas won that fight. Now, Jonas is saying, "Nah, I'm good." Like, and I think it caught me by surprise. But she revealed a lot of things that maybe she had pent up already. Like, yo, I wanted this fight immediately, and they were not working with me. Like Matchroom and Harper, like they didn't give me the opportunity for a rematch, but now they want to fight. And now that I got all these belts, now they want to fight. She says she has options, and if we're honest, she does. She has a lot of options actually up there. But how do you feel about this? And is Jonas is she just playing hard to get, or is she really shutting the door here, Beeb?
I'm a little confused though. Like, so what are the options? Because I think Eddie's got Katie Taylor over there. He's got Bumgardner. There's other fighters.
I'm guessing like a McCaskill fight, or something like that.
Yeah, but McCaskill's a DAZN fighter too.
Or a payday with Clarissa Shields.
Yeah, that's the only other fight, and I don't like that fight for her. I don't think it's a bigger money fight than the Undisputed fight would be. I don't think it's a bigger fight than fighting some of those people over in the zone.
So I think she's being petty?
I don't want to say that, but I think she's putting her personal feelings before. Well, I guess you can say she's being petty then. If I'm going to say she's putting her personal feelings before the business, right? I don't want to say that because I like Tasha Jonas a lot, but I got to be honest. Yeah, she's being petty. I mean, here's the thing. I understand her frustration and anger with the previous situation that she was in, because I thought she beat Terry Harper. The fight was a great fight. It was a draw. It warranted an immediate rematch, in my opinion. Right? Why not? But she did get frozen out, and Harper ended up losing and getting knocked out. But the way I look at it now is, it's a bigger fight now. It's an undisputed fight now. You were offered 7 figures for the fight. So what's wrong with the fight? I mean, it's you're in a better situation now. Who cares what happened in the past? I think it's a very winnable fight. You can make history and you can make a lot of money at the same time. I think it's a no-brainer. And like we just said, I think the only other fight would be Clarissa Shields, and you could fight for undisputed middleweight, but that's a very, very tough fight.
What about McCaskill?
Yeah, but again, that's McCaskill's a DAZN.
But she had that was her last fight with DAZN.
Oh, I don't know. Is it?
Yes. Whether she re-signed with Matchroom, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if she's still with Eddie or not. I don't know. But if you ask me if that's a good fight, yeah, I don't hate that fight. But I think the Harper fight's better. It's a more winnable fight, and you unify 154, and you don't have to drop down.
Yeah.
You stay in your own weight class, and you can make just as much, probably make more money fighting Harper, because again, Eddie Hearn's gonna is willing to put up the money because he's got that DAZN piggy bank.
Yeah.
So,
man,
yeah. So
7 figures is a lot of money. Man.
A lot of money.
I'm just saying that's a lot of money. Boxing Dev, do you think Jonas has a point here? Well, what's going on?
This is what happened. The unfinished business was immediately when they fought for the first time. In my opinion, Jonas beat Harper. But what happened there? Eddie Hearn trying to take her away from the Terry Harper rod. So they offered Jonas to fight against Katie Taylor. When Jonas fought against Katie Taylor, she lost. So why they are going to give her a rematch with Terry Harper if she lost against Taylor? So Jonas has been trying to win a belt. She moved up to a super welterweight. She won her belt. At the same time, Terry was losing against Alicia Baumgartner, and Alicia exposed Terry. She made look Terry, devil, So what happened here? They moved Terry to super lightweight, 135 to lightweight. Sorry.
Lightweight, yes.
And what happened there? In lightweight, they are not going to give her that shot against Terry Taylor. In super lightweight, they are not give her that shot against Cameron. So they did the same against Natasha. So they move up to super welterweight to fight against someone that Terry could beat. They are trying to pressure the Terry's career since the beginning, and they are trying to make her an undisputed champion. And what happened here? If Terry doesn't fight against Natasha and Natasha move down or move up, she's going to have to face Mary Spencer. And do you know what Mary Spencer is going to make to that girl? She's going to take her hair away. So she's going to destroy. Mary Spencer can destroy Terry Harper, Natasha Jonas. She can move up. She can move down. So what happened here? Matchroom is not going to give Natasha the fight she wants. She wants Taylor. They are not going to give the fight against Taylor. She wants McCaskill. She can beat McCaskill easily. They are not going to give McCaskill. So they are not going to give her Cameron, and even they are not going to give her Alicia, for example. So she has an unfinished business right now. She has a personal. She's mad with Matchroom for what they did with her, and she has all of. Ella está en todo su derecho de no querer pelear con Terry Harper, and I'm agree with her. So what else? She's not going to fight against Terry Harper. She's not going to give Eddie Hearn. No le va a dar el gusto de que pelee de vuelta y de que quizás su peleadora se corone fácilmente undisputed. But because that's a chance. If Natasha is going to...
she doesn't want to give the opportunity to them. Like I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Gail. Well, what's going on over here? Now, let me propose this. Could this be Jonas just saying, okay, well, they don't have that many options, so maybe they could offer me some more cheddar cheese.
Amen. That's exactly what I think's going on here. She is putting her, she's saying, wait a minute. I don't know that I'm all that interested in this fight, and you guys have treated me like shit. I mean, she hasn't always been given her respect, so she's now going to push back. But I think in the end, if they make it worth her while, or they show her a little more respect this time, she'll go for it. And undisputed is where she needs to be. That the great fighters try to unify, and that would be the ultimate legacy. That would, I'm sure, help her forget all the times they did her wrong, all the times they disrespected her. And that's what makes a great movie script, right? Down the road, great documentary. Sure. So I think she's being a tough negotiator more than anything.
Makes sense.
Because it's absolutely the right option and the best option. But that's how negotiations go.
That's a lot of money now. Hot boxing minute. How do you feel about it? Do you agree that maybe she's just trying to negotiate more, or is this really her just being petty? A mix of both. Like what do you think it is?
It's such a fascinating situation. I feel like it's another one of those benchmark moments for women boxing, kind of converging in the middle of where Boxing Dev and Gail were talking. In the past, you had things like Lucia Riker having to fight a guy, Christy Martin fighting Layla Ali. Yeah. In her first professional fight, Clarissa Shields had to fight Cruz DeZern. The women up until this point have had to take the best fights and the hardest fights just to get attention. And now they're at an interesting point because Natasha has the belts. The only one left is Terry Harper. And now it looks to me, from my perspective, that Natasha Jonas is just playing hardball, just like the boys do. She's like, well, I'm going to sit back because now I've got options. Now she's got Jessica McCaskill to the left and obviously to the right. Nobody wants a piece of Mary Spencer because she's just the abominable boogie woman of the whole 3 or 4 different.
I've never seen her fight. She's a real deal.
Oh yeah, her and like Shadeja Green are there. Nobody's going to want to fight either of them. Nobody's going to want. They're going to have problems finding matchups. But yeah, I believe it's just a ploy for her to get more money out of for the inconvenience and the distress that they have caused her. Now, where in the past, women might have been forced to just sign the dotted line just to get that fight and to get the exposure. Yeah. Now we're at a point where you got a former Olympian and she's sitting back like, all right, well, let's play hardball then. And we're going to call bluffs and call bluff hands because she's got several different options open. It is Jessica McCaskill out of her contract with Matchroom. That's intriguing. I didn't know that. That opens up that possibility. I would probably pick Jonas to win that fight. I want to see the Harper versus Jonas. There's so much unfinished business there, and what a bloody, awesome fight they had the first time around. It would be an injustice to the sport of boxing if they didn't run it back.
I agree.
You know, I think Natasha Jones just wants to make sure she gets properly compensated.
Jonas is fighting with Eddie right now. She doesn't want to fight him.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's great at that point where it's like, ante up the money. We've been going up 2-3 divisions just to get good fights, putting our bodies on the line.
Herself.
But she's not the first one. Senicia started that. Senicia started that by leaving Golden Boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And guess what? This weekend we're gonna have Valles fighting, who could be a possible opponent for Estrada in the future. So I'm excited to see that undercard. Yeah. And I'm glad, like you guys said, they're putting their foot down and they're basically saying, and you know, one of the interviews that Senicia did, she said, I didn't really have anybody in Golden Boy to go ask, how much should I get paid, right? That's something that women used to ask like how many years ago, right? When women were not allowed to work, whatever, right? So I think that they're learning from that. This year was such an amazing year for women's boxing. So I'm glad that Jones took advantage of that and said, guess what? I'm not fighting unless you pay what I deserve.
Yeah.
And Senicia also did the same thing. She actually even cried on stage and said, I haven't fought in like so long because I wasn't getting paid what I deserved. And now, like, it's all coming to fruition. So I'm so thankful that I waited out or did what I had to do. So I'm excited to see her. I hope that she gets a good match. I have to agree. I think she's chasing the Clarissa Shields fight.
Yeah.
And that would be like a huge money fight. Think about it. They're both really good. So if that's what's going to make the most money, go for it.
And we will see what's going to do Eddie Hearn to try to make Terry Harper undisputed. That will be amazing. That will be amazing to know.
Yeah, so she doesn't want to give Eddie Hearn the satisfaction or Harper becoming undisputed, especially not on her dime, right, or beating her. But she could stop that by beating Terry Harper. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I think the fight needs to happen. Personally, look, there's a lot of young, hungry women that are really good athletes turn into boxing now, and you know, the time to strike is now. If you want to do great things for a lot of these active women boxers, it's now. You know what I mean? Because the competition's not going to get. It's like that Garth Brooks song. Like the competition's getting younger. Okay, like it's just the way it is. Okay, so this is Jonas's best shot to become an undisputed champion. She's not going to get a better path. And I'm not saying that Harper fight's easy. If you've seen their fight, it's not going to be easy. But it's the best option for her to do it if she wants to become undisputed champion. But if I'm her, look, you do the Shields fight, she got nothing to lose. If she loses, she could still do the fight with Harper. So those options are still there as long as the belts aren't on the line. Okay? If Shields wins those belts again, they're not going to put Harper in there with Shields. Okay? It's not going to happen. Right? But
I don't think so. You know, you're a woman. You have to make respect yourself.
Yeah.
She's saying to a promoter with a lot of money, she's saying, I won't fight with her again.
Yeah, I think it's opportunistic of her.
Yes, he is. She's a dumb king.
at the moment, but she's also saying to herself, look, if I get back in the corner and I'm going to have to take this fight, I'm going to maximize the amount of money I'm going to make doing it. And I think that's what she's doing right now, because they're going to take this fight regardless. And I think she's doing kind of like a Tyson Fury flex, right? Like nah, you need me, I need you. Like what are you talking about?
I don't think that. Sorry, but I don't think that Natasha thinks that she needs to be undisputed. Look what she did in boxing. She's a Olympic medalist. She's a Unified World Champion. She's one of the best. She's pound for pound. So
she gave Katie Taylor one hell of a fight. I had that like 6 rounds to 4. The two of the judges had her losing by a point, and the other judge had her losing by 2. That was a great fight, bro.
Yeah.
So she gave a really good fight, but someone who didn't give a good fight was Dillian Whyte in his last fight, right? Dillian Whyte is going to return. He's making Eddie Hearn's calling it the big comeback. Okay, I think we're watering down big comebacks. Okay, but nonetheless, he's going to make a comeback against Jermaine Franklin. I got to be very transparent. I never seen Jermaine Franklin fight. I saw a couple highlights, but he's undefeated. So if anybody thinks Franklin can win, let me know. But this will be the last topic. But assuming he wins, where do we go from here? Like, what's the path for Whyte? Because I don't see a fight with Fury, right? Is it the AJ path? Is it maybe a fight with somebody else? You guys let me know, and we'll go with you a hot boxing minute.
I don't know what the path is forward for Dillian Whyte. The man outside of Anthony Joshua probably has the best resume in the heavyweight division. I don't perceive Jermaine Franklin to be much of a threat to him, to be honest. I think it's going to be a fun little fight to watch. I haven't studied a lot on Jermaine Franklin. I do know he was supposed to fight a friend of mine named Stephen Shaw, and he backed out of the deal. But I can understand why he would want to fight Dillian Whyte, because I'm sure that's a great payday if he's fighting Dillian Whyte in his home territory, because he's a huge draw out there. I don't know what Dillian Whyte does. He's fought Tyson Fury. I don't know what he does, but I think he still has some moxie left for some good fights for the fans. What is his path forward? He can fight Alexander Usyk maybe, but I don't think Alexander Usyk has any interest, especially given that he's a little bit older. He just wants to get the undisputed and make history and, ride off in the sunset, I think. Dillian Whyte, I don't know what his path forward is.
Okay. Gail, what path does he have here, assuming he wins on Saturday?
Credit to the British boxing fans. They have been so loyal to Dillian Whyte. They love him. They put butts in the seats for him. They watch him. He's a star there, in a way that we really don't comprehend, kind of the same way we have trouble comprehending why anyone still wants to see Derek Chisora in fights. It's right up there. But props to them all. If fans are interested in seeing Whyte there in contests, whether they're foreign or domestic, and they're still willing to pay, and Whyte still wants a paycheck, I can see it happening. And so is the obvious fight Joshua? Yeah, it is. We're all a little perplexed why anyone wants to see it. But, way back, there was some intrigue in the first fight between Joshua and Whyte. Whyte clocked him good. So the British fans may want to roll it back. All credit to Dillian Whyte. He's a great guy. He gives a good effort. Is he a world beater? Is he, even anywhere near the elite of the division anymore? No. But people like watching heavyweight fights. Us hardcore, we like the smaller weight divisions. We like the craft. We like the action. The general casual fan just likes to see big boys bang. And Whyte will do that.
Right. Deb, talk to us. What's the path for Dillian Whyte?
Sorry, I didn't study for this answer, and I also was saying in the private chats that I should say goodbye. I have to go to sleep.
Okay.
It's late over here, But thank you so much to invite me again. It was an amazing moment. Please make sure to subscribe in Boxing Dev. I have one of the I have a really good channel. You will enjoy it. I have interviews with Nonito Donaire, Ruslan Provodnikov, Sergio Martinez. A lot of good people is here. And again, thank you so much, guys, and have a good night.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a good one. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. Hey, Joe Habib, talk to us, brother. Well, what is the path, if any? I mean, it doesn't have to be glory and world championship, but like, where does he go from here?
I just think the Joshua fight's inevitable. I think Eddie Hearn's pretty much all but said that's going to be next for Joshua if Dillian Whyte were to win this fight with Franklin, which he very well probably should. I don't see him not winning this fight. Anything can happen, but I see him taking care of Franklin on Saturday. But yeah, I think he's going to take the Joshua fight. And, Dillian Whyte's going to probably turn into like Derek Chisora. He's just, he's a draw. Like Gail said, the British fans will continue to pay tickets to see fighters like Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora, and they'll be able to continue to make a lot of money fighting. So I don't see him being champion again. Or no, again, I don't see him becoming champion. I'm not even sure if he'll fight for the title again, because you got so many other guys in front of him now, and because of that big ordeal with the WBC, I don't see them doing him any favors. And then I believe Joshua will probably beat Dillian Whyte, so I don't think he'll be ranked, in a position where he's going to get a title shot anytime soon again. So yeah, I just think he's going to fight the Joshua fight, and he'll just continue to soldier on like Derek Chisora and make as much money as he can, and until he rides off into the sunset.
I definitely agree with that. I think his path is just being the gatekeeper of the division. I think that's what he should kind of focus on, go that direction, and that'll be that. You know what I mean? But with that said, everybody went, right? We're all good?
I believe so, yeah.
Good. All right. Boxing, hot boxing minute. Just give us some final thoughts, brother. Tell everybody where they could find your work.
Yeah, big fight card this weekend. A lot of stuff for the fans to absorb. Hot Boxing Minute, that's the name right here. I'm on the same handle on TikTok, which is my biggest platform, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Holler at your boy. Thank you for having me on D-Style.
Sure.
Big G, that's the homie right there. Joe Habib, it was a pleasure making your acquaintance.
Thank you, brother.
I look forward to talking to everyone more in the future.
All right, brother.
Absolutely. Gail, everybody find a work at nyfights.com. What you got going on?
Gotta unmute myself. Hey, and our man out of San Diego, Stephen Shaw, got himself a win last night. The only boxing card in the entire planet going on last night. One card. Which was fun. Shout out to Lou DeBella and all the crew for putting on that card. You can find me at nyfights.com, and I will be covering the Parker Ryder fight. We'll have them all. That's my assignment this weekend. So give us a read. We avoid the clickbait. We give you it straight. A lot of features. We're all about it. A small but mighty crew. And thank you for inviting me on to rep NewYorkFights.com.
All right, everybody check out Ringside Reporter every Sunday, and we're out of here, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Peace.
Happy holidays to everyone.
Bye, all you turkeys.